Today on The Young and the Restless, Christine sets boundaries with Danny, Nina wants Chance to quit his job, and Victoria fights for her relationship with Nate. Christine joins Nina in Chance's hospital room and asks if there's any news. Nina relays that it's too soon to tell. She breaks down after Christine tries to assure her he'll be fine. Why is it always my boy? In the hallway, Sharon arrives and chats with Elena, who tells her the bullet didn't hit any main arteries and that if it had been a quarter of an inch different in any direction they'd be having a very different conversation. Sharon complains that this wasn't supposed to happen. He wasn't supposed to be this close to the action now that he's chief. Elena is so sorry. Sharon asks to see him. Elena nods and gestures for Sharon to follow her. In Chance's hospital room, Sharon tells Nina and Chris that Elena feels Chance can make a full recovery. Elena appears and says they all look exhausted. Why don't you all go and take a break, maybe get something to eat? Nina protests but Chris talks her into it. In the jazz lounge, Devin finds Nate drinking at the bar. Devin asks if he's okay. Nate muses. That's the million-dollar question. He's not interested in getting into it but asks what Devin wanted to talk to him about. Devin wants to talk about turning this around, everything that's been going on with them. Nate asks how he proposes they do that. Devin thinks they should spend some time together. He knows Nate has been making an effort, and it's time for him to reciprocate. Nate marvels, wow. This is a day for big surprises for me. Devin notes that something clearly happened to him today. Nate still doesn't want to talk about it and asks Devin what changed. He'd given up hope on them ever having this conversation. Devin admits it started with Mamie, who got him and Lily thinking about how Neil would handle a situation about that. He can hear his voice saying, "Give the man a chance." In the athletic club dining room, Victoria is looking for Nate when Nick strolls in. She's going to leave but he invites her to stay for a drink. At the bar, Victoria complains that she and Nate were both blindsided. He thinks she threw him under the bus by siding with Adam. Nick shrugs. Victoria says Nate won't return her calls or answer her texts. Nick's not sorry that Nate is gone from Newman, but he's sorry she's hurting. Victoria asks if he believes Nate was being self-serving with his plan for their dad. Nick thinks he was playing the long game. She asks if he thinks Adam was planning anything just as devious. Nick isn't sure. He's having a hard time getting a handle on where he's coming from these days. He thinks he was genuinely concerned about their dad, for whatever it's worth. Nick's concerned about how Victoria will move on from what Victor did to her. At the hospital, Summer shows up and asks Elena if Chance will be okay. Elena assures her he'll be fine. Summer wants to see him. Elena didn't realize they were so close. Summer explains they've become friends. Elena says his mother just left with Sharon and Christine, so it should be fine. She shows her in. Summer moves to Chance's bedside after Elena tells her she can stay as long as she likes. At Crimson Lights, Sharon, Nina, and Christine toast to Chance. Nina can't take this anymore. He has to stop. Sharon knows it's hard to live with that kind of fear, but they have to accept that this is what Chance has decided to do with his life. Nina won't accept it, and will beg him to stop if she has to. Thinking, Nina suggests that maybe Sharon could get through to him. Talk turns to Ray and Sharon admits losing him really broke her heart. Nina is sorry to hear about her late husband's accident. Sharon recalls that every day she had to wonder if he was coming home. She chose to be with Ray, and Chance, knowing the danger. She understands as his mother Nina wouldn't have chosen this line of work. Nina wants Sharon to convince Chance to quit. Sharon wouldn't presume to do that. They talk about his penchant for being out there in the middle of the action. Sharon guesses maybe it's something he feels born to do, and no one will be able to talk him into giving it up. At the club, Victoria complains to Nick about their father believing she could be a threat like Adam. She had every right to be angry, but that doesn't mean she's going to sabotage him or the company. Nick asks what she'll do. Victoria wants to connect with Nate and let him know she's on his side. Nick recaps how Nate walked right into Victor's trap. Victoria says it's not over yet. He'll get his job back. Nick disagrees. Their dad believes he's eliminated a threat and sees Nate as a defeated enemy. Victoria will convince him it's wrong. Nick reveals that Victor's pressuring him to come back and take Nate's job. Victoria asks when this happened and Nick explains it was in Victor's office right after she and Nate left. She asks what he's going to do. Nick doesn't know, but he can't just walk away from Sharon's company. He feels it may be another test as to which one of them wants to wear the crown the most. Victoria decides she'll head down to the jazz club and listen to some music. Nick assures her they'll figure things out and everything will get back to normal. In the jazz lounge, Nate recaps to Devin that there's been a lot of blood in the water and they'd have to agree to let all of that go. Devin knows it will take a minute, but at the end of the day they're family. They can learn to forgive each other. I think anything's possible. It really comes down to us making the choice about it. He wants to choose not to have a problem with Nate and remember that they love each other. Victoria appears and asks Nate if they can talk. Nate tells Victoria he doesn't have anything to say to her right now. She persists, but Nate explains he's having a conversation with his cousin right now. Devin extricates himself from the situation and tells Nate they've made progress and will build on it. Once he's gone, Victoria tells Nate she knows he's angry. She is too. Her father set a trap for all of them. Nate smirks that he's the only one who got caught in it. He realizes that Victor was trying to pull his family together, but when it came time to choose sides, she chose Adam because he's family. Victoria insists that's not true. Nate fumes that he should have seen that when it comes down to it, the Newmans will always circle the wagons and protect themselves. How does she expect him to feel about that? Victoria didn't fight for Nate's plan because she didn't agree with it. Nate doesn't understand. Victoria was raised to protect the family above all else. Nate chuckles that you have to give Victor credit for selling his ruse like a pro. Victoria was scared about word leaking out and what it would have done to her father and the company. She asks him to be honest about seeing a small opportunity for them to take control again. Nate saw a chance for her to take control. He still thinks his was the best option for Victor and stands by it. Victoria asks if he can't see how Victor could have thought that he was trying to push him out. We can salvage this. Nate's pretty sure he doesn't want to salvage it. Victoria doesn't think he's ready to turn his back on Newman Enterprises just yet. Nate will need some time to make a decision about his future. Danny walks up to Nina, Christine, and Sharon at the coffee house and learns Chance was shot. He doesn't even know what to say. Sharon and Nina get texts from Elena and want to go back to the hospital. Nina urges Chris to stay with Danny. Once alone, Danny asks Christine if she's okay. She's been trying to keep it together for Nina, but this scared her. She's known Chance since he was born. Christine worries that she should tell Paul. Danny suggests she wait until the good news is official. Christine explains it was such a shock. Danny muses about how the whole world can turn upside down in the blink of an eye. That's why they should seize every moment. Christine couldn't agree more. Danny gets a message from Daniel that he has to reschedule their dinner. He teases that now he's free. Would Christine like to join him for dinner? Christine agrees under the condition it can't be misinterpreted. Danny understands it can't be seen as a date. He wants to work on music and tells her he wrote some of his best songs when she was in his life. She jokes about getting royalties this time. In the hospital, Summer tells that unconscious Chance that he needs to wake up and let her know that he's really going to be okay. She cries, I wasn't prepared for this. When she heard he got shot, she got this feeling in the middle of her stomach. What if I never saw you again? What if I never talked to you? What if I could never bore you with my problems again? She wants Chance to know that she couldn't have gotten through everything with her mom had you not been there for her. I'm really grateful that you're in my life. She tells him he has to be strong and get through this, because I can't bear the thought of losing you. At Crimson Lights, Christine tells Danny that she got a message from Mina, and she's with the doctors. Chance will make a full recovery. She's on the fence about their dinner. Danny knows it's a difficult time and the last thing he'd ever want is to make her feel uncomfortable. I'm just really hungry and I don't like to eat alone. Christine relents. I could use a burger. At the club bar, Nick gets a text from Victor telling him he's the only one he can count on and asking him not to let him down. In the jazz lounge, Nate tells Victoria that after today he'll have a hard time trusting where he fits into her list of priorities. She wants to fight for them. He questions what will happen when another issue comes up with her family. His Aunt Mamie warned him that he would always be an outsider to the Newmans, so maybe what this is a wake-up call for me to work on reconnecting with my family. Whatever the answer is, he's going to need some time to find it. At the hospital, Chance opens his eyes and sees Summer sitting there. He smiles. She takes his hand and holds it. Suddenly, Sharon appears in the doorway.